Video off. So, welcome. I'm going to say welcome to you all, our webinar. I have the title here, Revealing Your Hidden Potential in Life, Career, and Business. I have thought it's a little bit different than what was on the newsletter that sent out, but we are all here just the same. We are here today to introduce you to the BG5 system, and I'm going to also say the BG5 Institute. So thank you for those of you who are here literally live. I saw a couple of names of those of you who I know personally. Thank you for being here, as well as those of you who will be listening via the recording. Today is your opportunity to, in being introduced to the BG5 system, to have your hidden, I love the word potential, revealed revealed to you in life, career, and business. As you see here, my smiley face, I am Tuck Self. I am the, I'm going to say, host for the webinar today. I'm also one of the instructors at the BG5 Business Institute for the foundation course, as well as the consultant certification courses. I will be teaching the foundation course beginning June the 11th of this year, and then the certification courses starting in January 2026. I am not here alone. I am here with Sarah McGowan, who is the Assistant Director of the BG5 Institute. We're also very lucky to have one of our illustrious BG5 certified consultants, Latia Few. I said to her yesterday, there is nothing few about her. So welcome to the two of you. We'll say a little bit about ourselves in a moment, but to repeat a couple of things, very, very happy to have you here today to give you an opportunity to understand the power to transform your career with this beautiful system, number one. And number two, perhaps you are someone who is seeking to add the BG5 system to your toolkit of methodologies in working with your clients. Either way, we're going to share information with you. And we trust, one of my favorite words, that at the end of the webinar, you will walk away with a couple of nuggets of wisdom. And more importantly, you will want to join us in one of our future webinars. So here is what we will be talking about today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the major time of transition that we're in. I almost said it's one of my favorite things to talk about. However, we are in a very challenging major time of transition, and we will share with you how these changes and these challenges are changing the way that individuals are working. So literally, the landscape of the workplace. We will also very excitedly introduce you to the BG5 system, and I'm going to say the power of the BG5 system to transform how we work, how we make a life, how we make a living, you all, and to share with you that we are very proud to say that here at the BG5 Institute, we are the official source for the application of the human design system to career and business. That's a really big deal. So we're very excited about that. And then we are going to share with you 5 of our success codes. We have 16 in all that are a part of the BG5 methodology. So we're going to reveal 5 of those to you today. And then we will talk to you about joining our upcoming classes, how you might do that. And join us. And we are also here to answer any questions that you all might have. If you do not, some of you may have a copy of your BG5 and or human design chart with you in your hot little hands. If you do not, you can go to the website, look for this graphic here, and or utilize this link and get a copy of your own chart. It will be fun. I make up for you to be able to follow along with us today as we're going through those 5 success codes. To say a little bit about myself, even though there seems to be a lot on the slide, there is a purpose for that. I believe I shared in I think it's the intro clip that's on the website, that As an express builder, that is my career type. I'm an express builder. In my many years of working, it's quite a few, you all, what I discovered when I looked at and learned about the BG5 career design chart in the foundation and certification classes is that in hindsight, every career that I have been a part of was revealed in my BG5 human design chart. I am one of those people who is designed to work solo. So, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, consultant, I'm one of those individuals who's designed to work in partnerships, small groups, large groups. And again, in hindsight, I looked back at my life and my career and went, hark, this was foretold. This is revealed in my human design, in my BG5 career design chart. That's in hindsight. Imagine being able to work with your clients, looking forward and support them to be in the right working environments with the right people moving forward. So 2003, I was introduced to the human design system. It was like someone took their hand off of a cork that had been being held underwater. And freedom is the word that comes up for me, liberation. I saw the possibilities for my life. Anyone who is familiar with me knows how passionate I am about this system and body of work. So in 2017, after working with companies with the human design system and being held back a little bit from having the esoteric language, when the BG5 call came to apply human design to the business world, I dove in, jumped in, immersed myself. And as you can see, I do quite a lot of things, and I'm currently an instructor for the BG5 Institute, along with quite a few other beautiful people, Mike, Banu, and Veronica, if you had not had a chance to meet them. Again, we are here with Sarah and Latia, and I'm going to ask each of you, Sarah, if you'll go first, to say a little bit about yourself before we dive in.
Hi, thank you, Tuck, for putting on this webinar and inviting me today to support you. Tuck is a phenomenal instructor, and I absolutely love working with her. And today's going to be a fun webinar. So thanks for being here. A little bit about myself. I am the assistant director of the BG5 Business Institute, and I'm a express builder with a 4-6 profile in human design terms, manifesting generator, and really happy to be here with you guys today. I'll be putting some contact information in the chat so that you can get a hold of me, but just know that really my role here is to support our instructors and support our students in having really positive experiences at the Institute and furthering this knowledge into the world. I personally have experienced firsthand and have seen the power of this knowledge being applied in real life, and it's life-changing and liberating for a lot of people, right? To really know who you are and what you're here to do. It's a relief. And so we're excited to open up the doors to possibilities of you learning more about yourself, understanding yourself and others in a much more deep level, to start removing that resistance in your life and find a flow, peace, success, and satisfaction. So really excited to have you here, and let us know how we can support you. And I'll pass it off to Latia.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Tuck. I'm Latia Fee. I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I second Sarah in saying that Tuck is an amazing instructor. I actually trained under Tuck all 3 semesters, and I am one of her assistants for some of her courses. She's very humorous, and you will definitely take a lot from Tuck. I am an advisor. That's my career type, and I am a 5-1 profile. I came to human design BG5 by going through a divorce. After 16 years long-term relationship, I didn't know who I was outside of my partner. And I was just seeking some type of purpose, some type of self-discovery. So I went on my journey and I came across human design first, similar to Tuck. And then I wanted something practical, BG5. I'm an entrepreneur, project manager by trade, and I'm also a relationship coach, is what I coined myself. So I wanted something practical to offer my clients, to offer my friends and family, and BG5 is the perfect system because it offers a solution to your problem. So welcome, everyone. So glad you're here, and I will pass it back to Tuck.
Thank you both so much. I am grinning in that I love the passion that both of you have for the system. I know between the three of us, it's going to be important that we stay on the ground because I feel like our passion could allow us to take off into the ethers. But thank you both so much for being here to share with me and to support the people who are here. So just to give us a context for delivering and sharing the information and how come, and we'll talk about this in a minute, the timing of this information in this system and having it, I'll say again, in your hot little hands is vital based on these four converging factors. The changing times that we are in, the fact that the way things are changing is creating stress, anxiety, and even fear in the world, which then tends to affect the health and well-being of individuals. Communication, how we interact with one another, respect, honor one another in terms of communication is vital as well. And then to know how and where your time and your talents and your energies and your capacity to do what you love, to have that information, to know exactly what you're designed to give the lion's share of your energy to is huge. Our commitment, again, as Sarah and Latia and I have said, is to support you to align with that right work, to do what you love, and more importantly, to love what you do. So we keep this quote in here by the Dalai Lama. It's beautiful. Man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he doesn't enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future and lives as if he's never going to die and then dies having never really lived. Sobering quote, beautifully shared by the one and only Dalai Lama. I feel like every time I do a webinar, I say that this is my favorite uh, slide for this body of work that we are privileged and honored to share with the world and with others. Ra Uru, Hu, the originator of this system, years ago spoke about this very time of transition that we are moving through. Important as well to know that our human design system and our BG5 system presents itself, via ages, eras, meaning we move through life and work interacting with a background frequency. And so to know that for the past 400 years, since 1615, y'all, that is a long time, there is this background frequency that we have been operating, building, and moving through that's been called the age of planning. If you look, it's coming to an end in 2 short years, you all, 2027, that's right around the corner. What does all this mean? It means that for these past 400 years, the focus of life has been on building institutions, organizations, corporations, systems like healthcare, education, government, social, political, economic systems. And truth be told, we have individuals have given our power over to these systems as if they know better for us than we know for ourselves. In building these organizations and institutions and communities, they've been built on collective agreements. If you think about how people have worked in the past, I go to work, I do this for you, I expect this in return as compensation. So trades and bargains and agreements. Also, y'all, I think it's okay to share. I'm 72 years old, and my parents, as well as myself, I was told as a little girl to go to school, go to school, find a skill, pick out a skill, hone that skill, develop it, get educated in that skill, and then go find a job and work with that skill, climb the corporate ladder, obtain material possessions, do it alone, do it competitively, to be at the top of my game. And as Donna Summer frequently said in her songs, working hard for the money whether or not that skill and how I was working and what I was doing was aligned with who I am authentically or not. Also, again, in trusting these external authorities and giving our power over to them, many people in the workplace today aren't working in jobs and making contributions in ways that are in alignment with who they are and what it is that they're designed to do. All of these systems, these organizations, these institutions are being dismantled. I think all we got to do is look out the window and look out the door, and we can see how things are crumbling. And I'm a lover of good news. I love a happy ending to every story, and the happy ending to our story is that this age is coming to an end. That age where we worked for one company, retired, got our watch, that is crumbling and dismantling. But where we're going is to this age called the age of individuality, where the focus is going to be on you, your sovereignty, your self-empowerment, what it is that empowers you, inspires your creativity. God, what expands the abundance of your spirit to take leaps of faith so that you can fully express yourself, your innate God-given talents, and to do what you love and love what you do. Trust your own inner authority, not those external authorities, and honor your individuality and make your contribution from that place. When you're doing that, and I'm doing that, and Sarah's doing that, and Latia's doing that, we're going to then bond and come together and cooperate, not compete, but cooperate in ways that I think is going to absolutely gobsmack us, because it will be ways of working together and cooperating in ways that we never have before. So again, I'm excited for where we're going. I'm excited that we have this system to guide the way, and that we have consultants like Latia and directors like Sarah as well to support us in sharing this information out in the world. A couple of slides just to say things that I have the thought you are completely familiar with in terms of, yes, the workplace is changing. The landscape of how individuals work isn't the way it used to be. Job interviewing, onboarding processes, all of those are different than a couple of years ago, way different than when I was working initially in my careers, because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have virtual ways of doing things. I think people today are looking for work-life balance, flexible hours. They want to work remotely, sometimes in hybrid ways. I know my daughter-in-law does not drive to work. She works from home, whereas my son does. And so it's a possibility that people aren't going to work the same way, meeting at work physically the same way that they used to, which then is going to affect the way management meetings and team building sessions go. Rarely do people meet face to face. And when I read this last line, it reminds me of the Seven Dwarfs that said, hi ho, off to work I go. That is no longer business as usual. And so there is good news in all of this. I really believe that, you know, I look for the silver lining. Pollyanna always looks for the silver lining here. That the time and the challenges that we've been through have given each and every one of us an opportunity to go inward and discern what serves our heart and our soul and our mind, so that we can align with what we're doing and be fully connected. Individuals are no longer willing to give the lion's share of their talents and energy to feeling frustrated, undervalued, exhausted, not seen, not given an opportunity to expand. And what I hear often is that work-life balance is a must. It's vital. I actually love the percentage here as well, because I'm a lover of authenticity, that 39% of the people are seeking to be authentic in their work. Our system has the capacity to tap individuals into that authenticity and then guide them to places where they can make their contributions. In addition, there's a concept called quiet quitting that's worthy of mentioning, where individuals, 59%, you all, 59% are quiet quitting. doing just enough to get by. Again, they're not psychologically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually connected to who they are and what it is that they're doing. They're quiet quitting, and then 18%, they're not even being quiet about it. They're being loud about it, which then takes us to what I think is very, very positive in terms of what Ryan Rolansky says is the great reshuffle, where companies really are rethinking how they want to do business. What is it that they want to be different in terms of their culture? They're rethinking their values. They're looking at different ways to treat their employees. How can they acknowledge them, recognize, and reward them in different ways? And not only are businesses doing that, those of us who are employees and working, we are doing the same. We're looking to make sure that, again, we're giving our time and our talents and our energies to making a contribution in ways that we feel fulfilled and rewarded, where I say it feels like joy, creativity, and ease, and we prosper as a byproduct. So with all that as a setup, you all, what if you were given, put into your little hands, a personalized map, personal assessment system for moving you forward, for aligning you with the right work, allowing you to reinvent yourself? That's where I am right now. I want to say, even at my age, literally rethinking and reinventing how I want to do this last stage of my life, and to have this map to provide the information and additional insights on who you are, how you're designed to work authentically in alignment with your natural gift, skills, and talents. To be able to identify those so that you can express yourself, make your contribution, do what you love what you do, and at the same time be balanced in your work life and in your personal life. And one of the many things, and I mentioned this when I talked about myself and the work that I do, to be able to work environmentally with the right place in the right work situations, that is an aspect of our BG5 system that I don't believe other assessment systems are able and available to share with clients. And so we'll say, the three of us, welcome to BG5, the BG5 Institute. Again, we're proud to say that we are the official source of the career and business application of the human design system. Sarah, as our assistant director, will affirm that we are here to powerfully, enthusiastically educate, train, and certify our BG5 consultants to utilize this revolutionary system to empower. Latia and I were talking about this yesterday, to empower individuals to know who they are, identify their talents and their strengths, so that they move into the right work where we are able to live and contribute to our fullest potential in how we work. Many of you may know this. Back in 2023, I was very excited. The Washington Post identified the human design system as one of the top end trends. Most people are familiar with the Enneagram these days. Many people are familiar with astrology. Human design is becoming more of a buzzword from what I can hear. Very few people know about BG5 and this application of the human design system to career and business. And so we refer to it, when we go to share it, as a personal and a professional assessment tool. Similar to Myers-Briggs, similar to DISC, similar to up-and-coming assessment tools. I don't really know what the most current ones are. However, the individuals that are part of my classes tell me that our assessment far surpasses what has been revealed in many of these other assessments that they have been able to have access to in their jobs. To also share with you, there are many, many, many unique aspects to the BG5 system too that I'm going to share with you here that make our system unique. Is most of these systems that I mentioned give you access to what your conscious personality traits and characteristics are in terms of how you express yourself, how you're designed to express yourself as you work. We go underneath with the BG5 system and we give you access not only to what's consciously being expressed by you, what is underneath and what are you expressing on an unconscious level in terms of your traits and in terms of your characteristics and in terms of your strengths. That's huge. I don't know of another system in the workplace today that has that level of depth that ours does. Also, with these other assessments, you're going to go answer a set of questions that are going to change based on the day that you answer those questions, your mood, how you feel about yourself. We only ask you 3 questions, y'all, and the answers to those 3 questions are never going to change. And that is the date of your birth, the time, as well as the location. And then finally, in terms of our mission and vision, we really are seeking to get BG5, globally known. We are on a mission to align you with your authentic life's work. Again, to support you to identify and express your natural, God-given inherent strengths and talents, and to give you the tools so that you can fully express yourself like the 39% authentically in life and in work. And I'll say very quickly, I think it was last year, I was on a Tony Robbins and Dean Grazioso webinar, and they as well were talking about these challenging times that people are experiencing in terms of finding and working. And they said, number one, people need a system. Well, we have that. We have our BG5 system. They said you also need a guide for that system. We've got consultants. Latia is a consultant. I am a consultant as your guide. And then they said, number 3, you need practical tools. Practical tools are what we give you and share with you and educate you within our foundation and certification and advanced courses. So we filled in all 3 of those that were shared as the way to move into the future, to feel fulfilled, to work meaningfully, and to prosper as a byproduct. So with that being said, I'm going to say again, welcome to our BG5 system. Tony says here, identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions. That is exactly what we do here at the BG5 Institute, y'all, as we're working with individuals. We also work with partnerships. We also work with you in small groups and businesses, as well as large groups, again, with the intention to have you honor your own authenticity and your authority, to support you to move forward with inspired action, to make your contribution, to do what you love and love what you do, and again, prosper as a byproduct. Also, we are committed with this system to having you align to the not only to the right work, but in the right environments with the right people, the right teams, the right businesses, so that you feel, based on what we saw on the earlier slide, valued, respected, balanced, recognized, successful in how you're making your contribution. And again, I will just say, I have not been privy to another system that has the capacity to reveal your hidden potential and inspire authenticity the way that our system does. To give you a sneak peek of the 4 maps that we work with here at the BG5 Institute, I think most people are familiar with the individual career design chart. Maybe you have yours with you. So in the foundation course and certification courses, we work specifically with you to understand your strengths, how to align with those, again, so that you can find that right work, the right work environment, and make your contribution. We also work with partnerships via our companionship chart. So if you're on a team and you're working with colleagues, we have the capacity to support you to empower those partnerships, to maybe create partnerships, if that's something that is of interest to you. And then in the certification courses, very enthusiastically, we get to work with small groups, meaning some of us are designed to thrive ideally in small group environments. Some of us are not. So for you and your clients to know, how come you feel like you're soaring in a small group and you're highly successful versus maybe you're feeling uncomfortable, not seen, felt, or heard? We're able to give you that information as to how come, and you learn how to analyze small groups and businesses if that's something that you have a preference to do. And then we do the same thing with our large group organizations and dynamics, which are 9+ people. Here are the 16 success codes that are a part of our methodology. You learn the blue success codes in the foundation course. Throughout certification, we learn about the remaining courses. All 16 are possibilities. So if you're struggling, if you feel distracted, if you're not reaching your goals, it is a possibility that revealing how you operate from any of these success codes could change your life. I'm going to tell you, if you simply implemented the 5 that we're going to mention to you today, it will change your life forever in the eternal moment, now, here, and after. And so I'm going to ask, before I go into the 5 codes, Sarah, is there anything that you would like to share maybe that I have missed? And then the same with you, Latia.
I don't have anything now, but once we start getting into the success codes, I might. Latia, do you have anything?
I don't either, not at this time. I think you're doing great.
Does
Yeah,
our audience have any questions? Feel free to put your questions in the chat, the Q&A box, or raise your hand.
yeah. And before, these are the 5 codes that we are going to speak to today. I think it's important to know that we take a very deep dive into these 5 codes in our foundation courses, and then we piggyback on that. We expand on that in our certification courses. So we will speak today to the first success code of career type, which is information in terms of your best way to express yourself in work and career, and of course in your life, in a way that's easy for you, allows you to be effective and be your natural self, utilize your energy in a very natural, aligned kind of way, personally and professionally. We want everything, in terms of working, we want it to be joyful. We want it to be something that expands your creativity. And most of all, we want it to feel easy, at ease for you. Code number 2 is your personal interaction style, which has everything to do with how you communicate. Each and every one of us has a communication style, y'all, that is non-verbal. And that nonverbal communication style, we take it to every interaction that we have. So to know what yours is absolutely huge when you're working with other people, to know what is that style that you are communicating and what is the style of the people around you. Knowing what yours is as well as the people around you, that's what's going to eliminate friction and allow a sense of flow in terms of communicating and interacting with others. And who does not want effective communication and flow in the workplace? Code number 3, decision-making strategy. One of the biggest keys in this body of work. It will bring everything else into alignment, to know how you are personally designed to make choices and decisions for yourself. And alignment with your design is huge. No longer do we need to listen to external authorities. We're going to give you keys to listening to your own internal authority. Code number 4, define function. These are the areas in your career design chart that are colored in. They represent your core strengths and talents, what you're here to express consistently so that you can make your contributions in a grounded, aligned way, utilizing your natural strengths and power. And then shadows and distractions, we will touch on those today as well. These are places in your design that have the capacity, literally, you all, to pull you off track, distract you from your authenticity, have you operate from shadows, far, far away from the potential of who you really are. These can be the areas of your greatest conditioning, but what we learn in these foundation courses is how to navigate these challenges and these shadows, flip them and turn them into your successes, your wisdom that you are naturally designed to share with others, because we want you to feel successful and satisfied and peaceful and delighted. And so I have been talking a lot. I thought to take a pause to discover who is with us today in terms of your career type. Some of you may be familiar with human design. The human design types, our career types are labeled in a different way. So those of you who are manifestors are initiators in our BG5 world. Our generators are builders. Our projectors are advisors. Reflectors are evaluators. And so if you are willing, it would be fun for you to put into the chat box if you know what is your career type. And if you don't, you can go find it here. And so we know Latia is an advisor. Let's see, we've got advisors, express builders, manifesting generators. Beautiful. We're going to speak to those in one moment. Thank you all so much. Anything, Sarah and Latia, before I dive into our success codes? Are we good? Take that as a yes. Okay. So starting with success code number 1, you all, this has everything to do with how you are designed to best express yourself in the world. This is your career type, and your career type reveals to you the easiest and most natural way that you're designed to express and apply your energy so that you can make your contribution and share your gifts with the world. To know what your inherent natural gifts are and what your potential is huge. I'm going to say particularly in a world that wants to homogenize us. So our Foundation 1 course, in that course, you are actually going to learn about your career type as well as the other career types, because we do not work in the world alone. You're going to discover what yours is, which is going to give you full permission to be who you are authentically, which I have always felt like underneath intuitively, you've always known that's who you are all along. You may have just been conditioned away from that way of expressing yourself. And so, in addition to each of us being designed to work in a unique and a specific way, we're also designed to work in different environments and to interact in specific ways with each other based on those environments. You know, what we're not designed to do is to be like and work like everybody else that's working with us. This is about you authentically expressing yourself in work so that you can powerfully share your gifts. And I'm going to say prosper as a byproduct. So our success code number 1 is your career type. There are 4 foundational career types. I could tell in the box that we have a nice spread of the different career types. So some of you may be familiar with these, some of you may not. Our initiator career type makes up 8% of the population, as you see here. These are our individuals who literally are here to do exactly that, initiate, to get things started, to impact, to be innovative, to get things up and running. You are the only type, I think my eyes just popped over to see Angela. You're the only type designed to initiate, things and work this way. The rest of us are not designed to work the way that you are. And so from my experience of myself as a builder, 92% of us have been raised and conditioned and encouraged to be initiators, and it's not our strong suit. We need to leave that to the initiators. That is their way, not ours. And we're going to wait to be initiated. We have our builders, which you can see here, 37% are classic, 33% here are our express builders. I am an express builder. Sarah is an express builder. We are to utilize our energy, vitality, and creativity to generate our life force energy that builds, with the energy that we have. And there are two types of builders. We have classic builders, we have our express builders. Because we make up 70%, I will raise my hand and say we rule the world in terms of how our energy affects the world. Therefore, it's going to be very important that we understand our career type, that we're aligned with it so that we can express our creative and vital life force with others. And then we have our advisor career type. You see 21%, the green section here. Advisors are not about recognition. I mean, they're not about initiating, they're not about building. What they are about is being recognized, and once recognized, invited to lead and guide the energies of the rest of the world. So Latia is one of our advisors, that she has a true gift of being recognized, again, then using her time, her talents, and her energies to recognize the talents and the gifts of other people, bringing them together as this gifted organizer, maximizing energy, maximizing resources efficiently and effectively. Truth be told, the advisors in my life, members of my family, they tend to see things sometimes that we as the builders miss. And then we have our evaluator sliver career type here, 1% of the population. They are designed to let us know how the world, the environments, the communities are going or not. Their gift, as you see here, is objectivity. And so they're here to tell us how our communities are going. They're here to sample, they're here to reflect, they're here to evaluate, which is how come we're calling them an evaluator. I like to think of them like the canary in the coal mine, sampling the quality of the environment, evaluating the quality of the environment. What's important to know is that when we are not aware, familiar with, aligned with our career types, and not working in alignment with that, effort and struggle is going to be what we feel. Maybe exhaustion, confusion, overwhelm, maybe frustrated, bitter, and angry. We don't want to live like that. We want to know and align with our career type so that we can bring forth, success. We can align with our career type and make our contribution in the world in a way that resonates with our heart and with our soul. So that's success code number 1. I didn't know, Latia, if you wanted to weigh in, if you had anything to share, given you are an advisor or not. Sarah and I are both builders. So we're moving the energy along in the webinar today. Anything for you about your advisor type?
I would just say before I learned my advisor type, I was definitely operating as a builder with the go, go, go energy and always wondering why I was always so tired, bitter, exhausted. So when I learned my career type, it made sense that I have limited energy and that I'm supposed to wait for the invitation, wait to be recognized before I exert my energy, before I exert my any opinions, any insights. So this was an aha moment for me when I learned this information.
Yeah, you notice I just recognized you, right?
You did.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. Sarah and I are both builders. Sarah, you're an express builder, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but I was trained to be an initiator. I know Angela would just as soon us move over and stay in our lane, but I am actually, it's been easy for me to lean into being a builder versus I can feel the difference between that versus running out as initiator. How about you?
Oh, definitely. That's what I would share is a lot of builders are moving through life and we see that it makes up majority of the population and we're all trying to go out there and make it happen, but that's not really our job. And so when you have that energy that's not operating correctly, we can see a lot of dysfunction, right? So the more builders that we can get aligned and doing their role and using their energy correctly can kind of make the world work a lot better. And then that allows space really for the evaluators, advisors, and initiators to really do what they're supposed to do. I see builders and initiators kind of get flip-flopped. Builders are trying to be initiators and go out and make it happen. Initiators are tired of people not listening to them, so they're just waiting back for someone to ask them, when really they are here to make that impact. So it's really interesting to learn about this, to see your coworkers, your friends, even your close family, what the different career types are, so that you can start looking at those dynamics, and just starting with the career type. In my family, 2 of us are express builders, and we have an advisor and initiator, and just knowing the basics of those designs makes a huge difference in how we interact and operate. So we love it. I love to use this information, and that's all I have to say for now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was great. And any questions or comments, y'all be sure and ask as we go through. So career type, again, it is the first success code, very grounding in terms of letting us know who we are and how we are designed to move out into the world. Success code 2, it really is one of my favorite in terms of what it reveals. Personal interaction style has everything to do with your nonverbal presence, the nonverbal presence that we take to every interaction and communication that we have. It's huge to know because it's how we're impacting the people in our environment. And so, Success Code 2 provides information for how we're interacting with other people so that we can eliminate any friction that's in the way of our successful interactions and communications with other people. You know, in this day and time, communication, I think it's vital. I don't know if you have heard this before, but 93% you all of how we express ourselves and communicate um, with other people is nonverbal. It's unconscious. It's the energy that, you know, we bring to our communication. 7%, I think when I was taking courses, when I was in the working world, we focused on the 7% versus this 93% that we're bringing to the exercise of our communication and the way we work in life, and the fact that it is nonverbal. And so you want to know what your personal interaction style is, align with that, because that's going to eliminate friction and, more importantly, allow you to communicate clearly and effectively with other people. You're not going to be putting static out into the world. People are going to feel the ease and the flow of your style of communication and interaction. And so we're going to keep this on the surface with this slide. We dive deeper in our courses. Here are the 4 career types that we mentioned earlier in Success Code number 1, with their personal interaction styles, the non-verbal way of communicating. So we're going to start with our initiators. As you see here, here they are. There is a non-verbal frequency and presence that you take with you when you're interacting and you're communicating with other people that is closed and it's protective. It's somewhat challenging to get into because of this, you know, this closed and protective energy. You might be experienced sometimes as pushing out, again, closed and protective, and maybe even, you know, pushing out and repelling with your energy. Your way around that, your way to power through that in a very empowered kind of way, is to inform first and then move into action. When you inform, that's going to remove any resistance to your beautiful, powerful impact and flow, and keep you from being resisted or feeling as if other people are resisting your energy. Other people are going to get what you're up to, and not only that, they are going to just move in to support you and to support how you are moving out to initiate things in the world. That is for our initiator, and I put my eye over in the chat box. That would be you, Angela. I have the thought that you know that. In terms of our builders, that would be Sarah and Tuck. We have a frequency and a nonverbal energy, as you see here, that's open and enveloping. Remember, we are here to move things along, to build and to express our life force energy, because we can go out the door and do that in a very expansive kind of way. It is important that we don't overcommit our energy or say yes to things that aren't in alignment with who we are. That would only bring us frustration. So our personal interaction style, we are to respond. We wait and we respond before we engage. That's going to allow us to naturally attract the right people, events, circumstances, and opportunities so that we can build and expand and do what it is that we are successfully up to doing in the world in very satisfying ways. And then we have Latia as an advisor with her non-verbal presence that is focused, that is absorbing. Remember, advisors are very gifted at recognizing talents and gifts in other people. So for those other people to be receptive to you as an advisor and what you have to share, your personal interaction style is to wait for that recognition and invitation. When you do, you're going to naturally draw other people to you, which is just going to feel delightful. I make up Latia because they're naturally going to recognize your talents, your skills. However, given you move forward to share that without waiting for that recognition and invitation, other people may not be open to you, and you may end up feeling bitter, and they may end up feeling interfered with. That is not what we want to happen. We want you to soar and feel successful in this recognition. And then for our evaluator career type, what we have is a nonverbal communication style that is sampling and resistant. I don't know if you all are familiar with Teflon pans. I am. That's how my mama raised me, to cook on a Teflon pan. Evaluators have a gift of objectivity, and their presence reflects the environment as a whole. So you're going to best express yourself when you are at the heart of a community, the center of a group. You have this freedom to move around where you can sample, and then you can reflect how things are working as a whole or not. So you want to wait, you want to assess. That's going to remove any resistance, to how you move forward. It's going to remove any disappointment. It is going to allow you to soar with freedom, delight, and wonder. And so I don't know if there's anything, Sarah and or Latia, that you might want to add. Latia, you being an advisor career type, different than Sarah and I, who are here to respond. Anything, is there anything for you to add here?
I will say the recognizing part is very true. Once I learned that I am here to recognize others for their talents and gifts, it gives me some type of joy and success. And it opens up, I would say it opens up my heart to just do what I love and not worry about all of the background noise or not worry about money. Things just start to naturally come to me. So at first I thought I was just supposed to wait to be recognized and invited, but I missed the recognizing piece. So once I started to genuinely practice that, it made perfect sense. And it feels natural to recognize others. So
Yeah, that's that's great. The information is so vital. I do believe I have two older siblings who are advisors, and it was mind-boggling, absolutely revealing when the three of us were first introduced to this information, because I was conditioned to operate as an advisor, and do Lord, I am an express builder, which is almost, impossible for me to behave in that way. And once I learned what their gifts were in being able to guide, direct, and work with me as a builder in different ways, we started getting along as a family. Anything for you to add here, Sarah, just out of curiosity before I move on?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that I've personally experienced, and maybe some of our attendees have experienced this as well, where if you're a builder, whether that's classic or express, and you're constantly trying to make it happen, you meet a lot of resistance. You get really frustrated, you get really burnt out. And I think that's where we start to see the quitting in the workforce, because we're too caught up in trying to make it happen. Whereas if we can learn to let go and wait to respond to something. So something happens, someone asks us a question, and then we can check in with ourselves and wait for that, right? Rather than seeking it out, it changes everything. You'll just find so much more, clarity, space, like you feel like you can breathe better. And then you also find this sense of flow and you're satisfied with your work instead of frustrated all the time. Then we can start to see longevity in a career. I think that this part is really key for builders and creating that longevity so that you don't get frustrated.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And it's been a lot of fun too in our foundation classes when we have a representation of each of these career types and personal interaction styles. It has really made the class juicier, a lot juicier, to actually be able to interact with the different career types. So that's knowing your personal interaction style, which takes us, you all, to success code number 3, decision making strategy. The key to unlocking everything in your design when you know what your best process is for making choices and decisions in your life, relationships, and most importantly, work and career in a way that does bring and give you that sense of confidence, reliability, and resilience, which I think is really important. I've always said that decisions are one way that we have some sense, I'm a control freak, some sense of control over our life. So wouldn't it make sense for you to know exactly how you're designed to make choices in life and work that are in alignment with your design and in alignment with who you are? So we're going to look at the decision-making strategies, but before we do, it's important to look at where we can be taken down the rabbit hole based on where most of us have been trained, encouraged, educated, to operate, to think our way through life. The worst place ever from which to make a decision is our thinking mind. We want to let it do what it's designed to do, which is observe, look around, take information in, and do that in a duality kind of way. However, when mind thinks it's in charge, it's going to throw us off track. And most importantly, it will have you second guess your decision making strategy. And it's going to do that from its agenda because it thinks it's keeping you safe and certain and secure, all of those kinds of things. When your mind is in charge, it's going to have you do all of these things, act from emotional impulses, to fit in, to be like others, to not be rejected, to prove something about yourself, to feel worthy and deserving. It's going to put you under pressure, have you in a hurry, all out of the, absolute fear of the unknown, fear of the future. So we're going to talk about these when we look at success code number 5, these white and open places in your design. And unfortunately, I love this slide because for the most part, when we don't have this information, this is what we're speaking into. And it's actually what's going on in our own minds sometimes when we're doing our best to communicate with other people. So do you not want to know what your decision-making strategy is for clear communication? So we dive deeply into these decision-making strategies in our foundation courses. We're not going to do that here. I'm simply going to inform you as to how many different decision-making strategies are available for each type. So we know that our initiator type is designed to initiate, create impact, bringing this closed nonverbal presence. We know we want them to inform before they act. Your 3 possibilities in terms of a decision-making strategy is going to be to wait for your emotional clarity. So it has everything to do with your emotions. The next one is intuitive knowing. How do you lean into your intuition and your instincts? And the third is willpower, operating from willful determination. So you'll learn about that in the foundation courses so that you can create a life of flow in terms of how you initiate versus having an interruption to that flow. Builders, from our previous codes, we know that you're open and enveloping in your energy, that you're here to build creativity, be vital, do what you love what you do. You got 2 possibilities. Wait for clarity again, so the emotional clarity. Your other possibility is to follow your gut response. That's you, isn't it, Sarah? without looking at your chart? Aren't you a gut responder?
Yep, gut
Yep.
only. No instincts, no emotions.
Opposite of gut, which is all emotion. Okay. Then it's fascinating. Our advisor career type, with your focus in absorbing personal interaction style, we know that you are to wait to be recognized and invited to lead and guide, you know, to and when you do, what it's going to do is allow you this feeling of feeling successful. You're going to be seen, felt, and heard, which is so important for you in honoring your decision-making strategy. You have 5 different decision-making strategy possibilities, which is fascinating to me, given you are 21% of the population. So your possibilities are emotional clarity, the instinctive, intuitive knowing, the willful determination, and then listening to what you say from the core of your identity and listening to what you say as you bounce things off of this trusted group that you are a part of. You are what? Instinctive, Latia?
I am. Follow
Anything
my
say
instincts.
about that? Anything briefly you want to say about yours, just out of curiosity, in terms of revelation?
Except for it deeply resonates. And I used to wonder why I can walk into any space, and if I don't feel comfortable, if I feel like the energy is off, I will leave. I don't care who I'm with. I don't care why I'm there. I strictly go off of my instincts. So this confirmed why I make the decisions I make, and it made me feel less crazy for doing the things I did.
Yeah, very good. And then finally, we have our evaluator career type. Remember, y'all, 1% of the population making decisions in a very different way, sampling and reflecting the environment, taking their time, discussing that reflection with other people. We want them to be to living in alignment with their type, which is going to allow them to be surprised and delighted versus feeling disappointed and impatient. So we'll go over all of these in the foundation courses when we're looking at the different career types. So that is success code number 3. Y'all let me know if you have any questions and or comments. Success code 4. It is all about the defined functions. There are 9 defined functions in a design. Some of them in your chart, if you have a copy of your chart, are going to be colored in. Some of them are going to be white and open. Each of these functions that are colored in are identifying your core strengths, your traits, your talents. It's a map that reveals, again, your natural strength, the power that you have to fully express yourself in ways that, allow you to stay grounded and aligned, and with your true nature, personally and professionally. So what's going to be important here to know and remember as you're looking at your design again is that what's colored in is what you can always rely on to be you. And so there are 9 functions here. Each one of them actually relates to an aspect of your biology. When it's colored in, this is what you can rely on, in a way that you can trust in terms of it being consistent for you. We'll go through each of these in the foundation course, looking at them briefly. Here we have the drive and stamina, which is the root in human design. This is of the function that supplies adrenalized pressure and fuel for you to get things going, to evolve in life. It fuels and pressures the body graph. If we look at the energy resource, this is what makes us builders. It is the sacral motor in human design. It's the internal motor that Sarah and I utilize that generates energy daily for us to build and create life, love, and work in satisfying ways. So life force energy as builders is what this red square brings with the survival instinct function here, the spleen in human design. This is your intuitive awareness, your intuitive and instinctive power. It's where your instincts and intuition are that alert you what's required for you to survive and adapt and thrive physically in the world. We have our emotional intelligence function, better known as the solar plexus in human design. I am emotionally defined. This function carries potent emotional energy that it is vitally important for those of us with it defined to learn to harness those benefits as we flow literally through the highs and the lows of our emotional wave. We have the willpower function, the ego and the heart in human design. Given this is colored in your design, you're here to be willful and heartful. As you bring resources forth on the material plane, it's going to be important that you, when giving and making promises, that you keep your promises. That is how you're going to build trust. For those of you who have the yellow diamond, this is the identity function, identity and direction, better known as the G Center in design, bringing a fixed and reliable sense of who you are and where you're going in terms of your mission and vision and direction in life. We have communication and action colored in as the throat in human design. When this is defined, it is giving you a specific way that you're designed to express yourself. Some people, I believe that's you, Sarah, defined to express your mind. Some people express from their core identity, some from their willpower, some from their emotions. That would be me. Some from their energy resource function. I believe I hit them all. And then we have our two colored functions at the top. We have the mind, which is made up of the yellow triangle, the inspiration function. So this brings a fixed way of thinking and having these thoughts that uplift and inspire and empower other people with possibilities and questions. And then we have our green conceptualization function that brings this capacity to process and think, and mentally be creative, inspire other people to think and process and enjoy mental stimulation. So anything to add here, Latia and or Sarah, just out of curiosity? Just curious, thought I'd ask.
Not for me.
Hey,
There's so much I could say, but then we'd have to spend like 20 weeks together in a course to
I think
really get into everything. There's so much to unpack here. It's really, really fascinating. If you find yourself curious and wanting to know more, like one question I could have for Latia is she only has 2 of these defined. I wonder, how does that impact you in comparison to being around people who might have 7, 8, or 9 functions defined?
I was actually the long-term relationship I spoke about. My ex-partner had 7 defined, and I realized her energy just pretty much overpowered mine's in our relationship. I found myself taking on her emotions. I didn't know how to differentiate her emotions from my emotions before learning this system. So I'm very open, but just knowing how to operate with my openness has extremely helped with relationships, romantic relationships, colleagues. Now I know that your emotions are your emotions and my emotions are my emotions, or the way you communicate might not be the way I communicate, and that's fine. I don't have a fixed way of communicating. It depends what space I'm in. It depends who I'm around. So just understanding those dynamics about myself really help for me not to feel like I'm not good enough or I need to operate in a different way because the masses are operating in that way. It really helped me lean into my individuality in a way.
Yeah, that's great. And another interesting one is the identity and direction, that diamond in the middle that's yellow. When I learned about that, it was so fascinating to me that people walk through life and don't really know who they are or where they're going, and how that leads those people to sometimes be susceptible to, being in the wrong environment or being around toxic people and unhealthy relationships, gangs, etc. And so it's really interesting. I have that defined. My husband does not. And I can see when he naturally just goes along with what I'm doing, and it's very important for him, for his space to feel calm and welcoming and like his, where he lives is very important. And so me just knowing that about him and being aware, it's very helpful for our relationship, right? Because it's not something that I can control. It's not something that he can control, but how can we work together? So you'll be able to learn about this, all these different nuances and the people around you too, right? We're learning this information not just for ourselves, but to learn about others as well, so we can see how we can work together best.
And to
Well,
piggyback off of that, Sarah, it's funny that you say that because I do have an open
Yeah, you
identity and
do.
direction. And I
Yeah.
was obsessed with looking for my purpose. I've been in at a full-time job for 14 years and I just never felt like it was the right fit. I'm bored. So just that obsession, like, what am I supposed to do? Who am I? I mean, I was obsessed reading books. That's honestly how I came to the system because I wanted to know more about the dynamics of me. But I think what saved me from getting in too many incorrect situations was my decision-making strategy, which is to follow my instincts. So I've always kind of known that before I knew this system, that I'm that person that I will follow my instincts. And that kept me out of a lot of trouble along the
Yeah,
way.
that's good.
very good. Thank y'all so much for saying that. I'll just piggyback on that. My emotions go straight to my communication and action function. So I am a highly emotionally expressive person, and that was the very thing that my family kept attempting to have me stuff, deny, and hide. So getting the information about my defined functions and how I'm designed to express myself was huge, and I hear that from the both of you as well. Very revealing. And so thank you for your shares, which takes us then to success code number 5, the last code for today's shadows and distraction. These are what we call the undefined areas of your design where you are white and open in the functions without definition. As you see here, they provide information as to where your challenges may show up, distractions that are going to be pulling you off track from achieving success, to know that your functions are open and have been open, for a lifetime of conditioning. And so this is where you may discover that you're operating from shadow behaviors, from old patterns, where your vulnerabilities show up again, anything and everything that's pulling you off track from being authentically who you are and doing what you are authentically here to do. Again, what you're going to learn in the classes, what's really big and huge is that we get to learn from this conditioning and we get to take advantage of this conditioning and we're going to turn it in to wisdom, and it is that wisdom that we are designed to share with other people, and I'm going to say prosper as a byproduct. So here's a look at the undefined functions that can distract us and pull us off track, given you have, when you're looking at your design, any of these functions open. You could be someone that's losing focus. I have an open mind. I have an open conceptualization function. So I might lose focus trying to answer questions that aren't mine. In terms of the conceptualization function, trying to hold on to information, becoming mentally defensive because I'm open. With these functions, when they're open, we take energy in and we even amplify it. That's what creates the shadows and distractions. So communication in action, you might find yourself trying to attract attention, to relieve the pressure there, try to be the star. With the identity and direction function that was being mentioned a minute ago, when this one's wide and open, you may be confused about who you are and where you're going in terms of role. That's how come we say role confusion. With the willpower function, when it's white and open, it brings this energy of having to overcompensate, having to prove oneself, because there isn't the consistent willpower there. With the open emotional intelligence function, you're taking in emotions, amplifying it. So the shadow behavior is to avoid conflict, to avoid the emotions, and that brings the sense of touchiness and nervousness. With the drive and stamina function, you're taking in this adrenalized pressure and energy pressurized and adrenalized energy that may put you under pressure and have you be in a hurry. That's the shadow behavior. For advisors, initiators, and evaluators, your open energy resource function may have you be overzealous in terms of how you work and not knowing enough is enough. And then those of us, including myself, with the undefined survival instinct function, it carries the shadow behavior of hanging on to things for longer than is healthy for oneself and not knowing when to let go and what to let go of. But you know what? Remember, I said I love a happy ending to every story. So the happy ending is we turn these shadow behaviors into our wisdom that we then share with others because we know what's inspiring. We know what to spend our time thinking about. We know what needs to authentically be said. We know what environment is healthy for us in terms of identity and direction. We know who has that healthy sense of self-esteem and willpower. So let's go partner with that person. We know who is emotionally healthy or not. We know what environments, we know how to handle this pressure that we're taking and how to utilize it in effective and productive ways. Open energy resource, you know how to, again, partner and properly use the energy that you're taking in and amplifying it. And then survival instinct. What is a healthy environment, again, for you or not, in terms of what to hang on to and what to let go of. So I don't know, Sarah, if you and or Latia have anything to share here before we close out this section and tell people how to join us.
I'll let Latia go first, if you'd like.
Trying to see what can I add here. Nothing really. I really appreciate knowing the wisdom because sometimes I think we will shut down if we just knew about our shadows and challenges without knowing how we can kind of transform that into our wisdom. So I always like that simple slide, just some quick hacks to practice and pretty much lean into.
Yeah, a lot of open, undefined functions,
A
Latia.
lot of open.
I know, I just was noticing you have 3 completely open.
I know.
That adds an extra layer of it. If you have no activations, no color at all on a function, it definitely changes the way the shadow can operate a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Sarah.
Fascinating.
And there's Tuck. Yes. All
We
right.
all have completely open willpower.
I know. I'm just noticing that.
Okay, so we have willed our way through the webinar and have come to the end of this piece. So wrapping up these 5 success codes, trust me, you know, given you come to the foundation courses, we are going to expand on these in the most extraordinary kind of ways and dive much deeper into these to give you a little bit of information about the foundation courses and what you can expect. One of the biggest things you're going to learn about is yourself, which is vitally important, and that we want to be aligned authentically and expressing who we are. So how are you designed to work personally as well as professionally? What are your individual gifts, strengths, and talents? What are the shadows that are pulling you away from that? And how do you turn that into wisdom to share with others? So I would come to class with my chart and the chart of, you know, anybody in my circumference, family and friends and colleagues, because we're also going to learn how to understand others in going through the same information. We want to be interacting and communicating with others in life and worth in a very empowering kind of way, where we're building relationships and we're able to build careers in very powerful ways. You're going to learn about the BG5 terminology. We're looking to create our identity in the world here at the BG5 Institute. And so for you to be able to have this language, move out into the world and share this language, understand your design, the design of the people that you work with, is what you will learn in the foundation course. And then if being a consultant is something that is of interest to you, it is a prerequisite to go through the foundation course. And Sarah can speak more to that in a minute. If you are someone who's come from the human design world. But I thought to go through these 2 slides to give you specificity in terms of what to expect in each of the foundation courses in semester 1. Again, we're going to spend one class each on each career type, going fully through that type and all of its decision-making strategies. You're going to learn about your personal interaction style, which, trust me, it's huge to know what that nonverbal presence is that you're taking to every communication and interaction that you have. Hugely supportive. Decision-making strategy, we'll go through all of the decision-making strategies for each type so you can discover what yours is, how it operates. And then you're going to be introduced to key indicators, meaning how do you know when you are on track and or off track in alignment with your design or not. For Sarah and myself as builders, our key indicators are we humming along with satisfaction, or are we stuck in frustration? For Latia, is she moving forward successfully or stuck in bitterness? So you'll learn for your career type. And then assimilation processes is huge, you all. There are 5 different ways and styles that we take in information and process it to know what yours is, as well as the people that you work with, the people around you, is huge. Sarah, Latia, and I all are independent, assimilating processors. My husband was a collaborative individual. He needs people in his process. I don't want people in my independent process. Some people are subjective, some people are synthesizing, some people are objective. So we'll learn about that in one of the classes. And then as we have spoken to the 9 defined functions, as well as the functions when they're open, the conditioning of the shadows and distractions, and how to take advantage of that. And then lastly here, but most importantly, you're going to look at your design from both perspectives, how you are operating and expressing yourself consciously, and what is happening on the unconscious level, which again, I know of no other system that has the capacity to provide this level of depth in terms of information and how we are operating in the world. And then we're going to expand on that, take a deeper dive in semester 2 as we're unlocking your creative potential. If you're familiar with human design at all, we will look at all of the 36 strengths, what human design calls channels. We're going to look at all 64 traits. So how is it that you're designed to express yourself, operate, and move in the world? And we will look at that based on which thematic that your strengths and traits belong to, because you could be someone who's here to empower yourself and others very individually. You could be someone who's here to stand on the mountaintop and share with the collective logically or experientially, and or you could be someone who's designed more to be supportive, more tribal in how you support, very tribally and group oriented. We will also look at these 6 qualities, better known as, what are they called in human design, Sarah? I suddenly forgot.
Lines.
Thank you.
I knew the answer.
Went out of my head. We're going to look at all 6 of the line qualities and how they flavor the traits. And then we will spend a good bit of time on what the human design world knows as profiles, what we're calling the 12 public roles, which has everything to do with you understanding what is your theme in life, what is your public role in terms of how you're designed to express yourself. So that's what the 2 courses include. I'll tell you how to join us in a minute. Sarah, I didn't know if you wanted to add to that and or what you wanted to say about this slide.
Just if you're in a career where I set so continuing education units either helps you keep your credential, move up on the pay scale, something you could submit to HR. This is also something that you could just put on your resume, but we do have, I guess in a sense, like college level credits that you can take or that you can receive from taking our courses. So as long as you're participating in the course and complete your semester project and that's approved, then you'll get a transcript after. And if you don't need the CEUs, honestly, our accreditation is one of my favorite things that we've done for the Institute, because we're in a world right now where anyone can claim anything, and AI is taking over, and we don't know what's real or what's fake, right? And so we are certified by an outside agency, and then that agency is certified by another outside agency. And so there's a lot of checks and balances and a lot of credibility that you can know and trust when coming to the Institute. So, we are guaranteed to have well thought out courses with clear learning objectives, communicating those to our students, having the proper supports in place for our students and our instructors. That's something you can be confident in when studying at our school. And it's a very rigorous process to be accredited. And I'm really proud to say that we are the only official licensed and accredited human design school, and also human design school for business. So we have two things right there. So I hope that can aid in just your confidence when you decide to work with us, that we are going to deliver on what we say.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for all the work you put in to get us accredited. That is greatly appreciated. So this next group of slides, we would love for you to join our foundation courses. I'm going to give you information on how to do that, as well as what it looks like to move forward into these certification courses. Again, we are on a mission to create our BG5 identity around the world and to spread this system around the globe. I still today, since 2017, am deeply inspired by the individuals around this world who are coming to the BG5 Institute to learn this information, to become certified, and to take this beautiful system out into the world to work, to their workplaces and to work individually with their clients. So class starts on June the 11th. We have an early bird until June 4th, $825 versus $875. If we haven't convinced you to join today, the first class is free. Here is the link to sign up for the class. Sarah has put together an essentials package. If you are ready to commit to semester 1 and semester 2, at the early bird price with that package, you get the self-study webinar free. You get a one-on-one career design overview at a reduced price, which is a huge addition. The cost is $18.99, savings of $4.21, and in addition to that, all foundation packages include a coupon code for a complete report for $5 versus $84. Sarah has also put together a payment plan. Here is the link for that. I'm going to go through all these, Sarah, and then if there's anything for you to add. I thought to put the curriculum order here, like here's where we are, the BG5 Foundation courses, which are required. Sarah, you want to speak to anyone that comes from the human design world that wants to move into the BG5 consultant courses, how that operates? Did you want to speak to that very quickly?
Yeah. So if you plan on studying at IHDS, or you already have, and you've taken all 3 of the foundation courses, then you qualify to move into BG5 certification. So if you have questions about if you meet those qualifications or not, please let us know. You would also have the option to audit foundation. That just means taking it at a reduced price. So if you feel like you maybe meet those qualifications or just want more information, I'll put some ways to contact me in the chat.
Okay, thank you. And so I get excited putting this information here. I am teaching 2026, the 3 semesters of consultant certification, to let you know that by the end of the 3 semesters, you'll be able to move out and deliver an overview, which is an introduction to this beautiful BG5 system to businesses, individual clients, corporations. You'll also be able to deliver a full career design analysis. So those 16 success codes that we saw earlier, you'll have a full understanding when you're working with clients how to reference any of those 16s. You'll also learn how to do a partnership analysis. You'll learn to do analyses for corporate leaders, business owners. That's what an Alpha 1 analysis is called. And you'll learn how to work with teams, small businesses, small groups of people to analyze those. The way that the BG5 Institute has set the courses up. As you finish each one of these semesters and hand in your project and are approved, you can begin offering to clients each of these services, actually charging for those services. You simply need to let people know you are still a student, that you are not certified until all 3 semesters and 3 projects, and all of your payments are fully complete. Sarah, once again, in all of her brilliance, has put together an essentials package that includes all 3 certification courses, discounted reports, both of the toolkits. I'll give you a look at those in a minute. And look at there, a full design analysis with Tuck Self. Wouldn't that be fun? Here is a look at the discounted essentials package for those 3 semesters. So again, all 3 semesters are included, the 2 toolkits, an overview, and the reports. Here is the savings. There's a payment plan for that as well. And in speaking to the toolkits, we have a career design overview toolkit. So when you're working with clients, you don't have to spend your time putting your PowerPoints together. They're put together for you. You can simply slide your clients' information in where it's applicable. We have toolkits for each of the career types, 2 versions. And then we have a full analysis toolkit. Trust me, this is hugely supportive when you are working in companies and with your clients. We have all 16 success codes. We have adjunct, uh, what do you call them, Sarah? What's the word? Resource slides for each of those 16 success codes. We have cheat sheets that have been put together to support you when you are putting the information together for clients. Hugely supportive if that's something that appeals to you. And then here is simply and powerfully, I'll say, an example of what's possible for you in terms of income once you are a certified BG5 consultant, what you can charge more or less or the same for an overview, an analysis, ongoing coaching, package coaching, the partnership analysis, the Alpha One leadership, and when you go in to do the team consultation or the small business consultation. So is there anything for you to add, Sarah, before we open it up for any questions that anyone might have? Anything for you that maybe I left out at this point?
I think you covered everything well. I just wanted to mention that I did put our email in the chat. If you have any questions, that's the email for our office admin, and she can support you in answering any questions that you have, or checking in about if you qualify for the audit pricing. And then if you're still not clear and you have any questions, no matter where you're at in your journey, you can always book a 15-minute call with me. The 15-minute call is free, and I can help support you just wherever you're at in your process. So please don't hesitate to save that link and book a call with me anytime that you have some questions or just want to chat.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. And we have also put in this particular PowerPoint, given you want to peruse and read some of the testimonies from individuals who have gone through our courses and become certified consultants. That is in here as well. It would make my heart sing to have you in our upcoming BG5 course. So I know there are a few of you still here. Please know that Sarah and I are here to answer any questions that anyone might have about anything that we have presented. So I'll pause for a minute, Sarah, and we will ask, does anyone have any questions for us?
If you'd
Sure.
like, you can raise your hand and we can promote you to panelist. If you'd like us to turn on our cameras and we can interact with each other. You can also put your question in the chat if that's more comfortable for you. So please just let us know what you need. And if you have everything, then you're free to sign off as well. Okay, we have Angela raising her hand. I will promote you to panelist.
Trying to turn my camera on.
And I'm gonna,
Oh, what happened?
looks like she's here.
Hi.